Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 220 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of November the 1st through the 7th, 2021. My name is Tim Beeman.
And I'm Michael Hastings.
And we're opening the recipe trunk. We are recording this episode of the Man Who Ate the Town in the Les Desirable Studios in the lab at Industry Hill. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Casts, or any of those others I was looking at this morning, we'd appreciate a like, follow, and a rating. It would help us tremendously. And if you're listening to us on the Triad Podcast Network, thank you and welcome. This episode of The Man Who Ate the Town is brought to you by Diamondback Grill. It is casual dining located in the heart of Buena Vista in Winston-Salem. It is a fantastic family-owned farm-to-fork restaurant that sources most of its ingredients from local farmers. Stephanie and I went there Saturday night for dinner. It was Wake Forest homecoming night, so they were packed. But we got our salads and the spicy devil shrimp appetizers that they have pretty fast, which is a good thing.
Good.
It was loud from all the drunk Wake kids and the drunk Wake adults. But the atmosphere really never changed. It was still welcoming. Check out their cocktail menu, too. I like the TNT, which I believe is gin and soda and mint, I think it is. Really, really good. And get a double like I do. It's full of seasonal deliciousness, that cocktail menu. Diamondback is at 751 Avalon Road. You can find them on the web at diamondbackgrill.com and on Facebook and Instagram. To make reservations, call 336-722-0006. And, of course, tell them that I sent you. And everybody's still hiring. So go get a job. Yes, still hiring, as nothing has changed. Still hiring.
Need to be queuing up the Smokey Robinson America song.
And get a job.
And then they did the sequel, Got a Job.
Got a job. We have 3 local bakers that will be on the Food Network's Holiday Baking Championship, which I think is cool because we've had several local folks compete on Food Network shows.
Right.
Jennifer Hood, a dietitian for the Yadkin County School System and owner of J Bakes, is that what it's still called?
Yeah.
She's going to be on the Baking Championship. Her episode's tonight.
Tonight at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Food Network. Yeah. So, so there are actually 2 different shows. So there's the one that's just called Holiday Baking Championship, and then the one that these other folks are on.
Yeah, Stacy Milner, owner of Bake Just So, and she's teaming up with Lindsley Diebler of, as she's known as the Gingerbread Lady.
Yeah, so there are 2 on to competing together, is the way I understand it.
Yeah.
They're going to be on Holiday Baking Championship Gingerbread, which is kind of like a different show, a whole different competition. But
yeah, Gingerbread Showdown.
Yeah, Gingerbread Showdown. Yeah.
And that happens on November the 22nd.
Correct.
That's what I was asking you about on
Yes,
Facebook.
yes.
At 9 p.m.
So of course, all these all these contestants are under contract to not talk about how well they did, but it'll be interesting to see. And I think this is the first time we've had Winston-Salem folks get on some of these shows in the past.
Like Tim Grananetti was on Chopped.
Yeah, and the woman who runs the cupcake.
Tanisha.
Yeah, Tanisha has been on a couple, I think 2 different shows.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. We've never had 2 on the same month. So that's, or 3 actually. So this is actually 3 on 2 different shows in the same month. So that's pretty cool. Well, I'm interested to see how far they get.
Under the same umbrella too, because even though there's 2 different shows, not just episodes, but 2 different shows,
Right.
It's still the Holiday Baking Championship,
Yeah.
but one's the gingerbread thing and one's just the regular.
Yeah. General. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Also the woman who runs To Your Health Bakery,
Pam? Is it? No,
Anna,
it's not
Anna.
Anna. Yeah.
Anna Simone. It's Yeah, they're off Haynesmont Boulevard.
Okay.
Your Health Bakery near where Fireside is. And
Okay.
It's on my market that center. She was on a cookie show a year or two ago. I want to say 2 years ago, probably right before the pandemic started. But yeah, we've had a lot of competitors get noticed, and the kind of scenario is they're these production companies are trolling Instagram basically.
Yeah.
They find somebody who looks good, they call them up, and then it's
Probably some audition process or something.
And there is, and it's I think it's semi-rigorous, and it's they put them all through like a series of interviews. It's not like we call you up, talk to you, and you're on. It's never that simple. It's a pretty kind of, from what I gather, a long series. It's not even 2 interviews necessarily, just 3 interviews. It's a long series of interviews.
Yeah.
And then they're checking all their boxes or whatever.
So maybe once their episodes have gone through, we might have somebody on here to talk about what the process of that is.
Yeah. But I've had several people tell me, somebody saw me on Instagram and reached out.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens these days.
Well, good for them, and I'm proud that we have quality people like this. And I've had a lot of Stacy's stuff at Bake Just So, and it's always so very good.
Very successful business, and of course now has 2 locations.
Yeah, one in Louisville and one over on Robin Hood out in the BFE.
Yeah, they call it Robin Hood Village, I guess.
Yeah,
back out there where Robin Hood and Meadowlark intersect.
Yeah, right before you get to Olivet Church.
Yeah,
which to me is still BFE. It's way out there. So it's a special trip for me to go out there.
Yeah, but there's been a lot of development out there that way in the last 10 years. Social. There are a lot of there's been a lot of housing development on that stretch of Robin Hood as you're kind of getting out there, but also if you turn down Meadowlark, there's obviously the school's down there.
Yeah,
Meadowlark School, but also on the way to the school, you pass a dozen developments.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of people living out there.
I tell you what, I don't know that you could pay me to live on Meadowlark, especially during the school season.
Well,
if you've ever been on that road, and it's only a 2-lane road with a turn lane.
Right.
And there's a lot of kids that go to those schools because there's not just one, there's 2 schools there, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of people in line in the road, and that's a headache.
Well, anybody living on a street that has a school, if you're within like 3 or maybe even 4 blocks, you learn quickly what you're in for.
Yeah.
and a lot of people. Yeah. Some people learn to live with it. Some people move.
Yeah, I would certainly be one of the ones who moved. First thing I look at, we were looking at houses. We're not moving, but we looked at houses, and I'm like, where's the closest school? And they're like, oh, you're really close. I said, how really close? And they're, oh, you're like 3 blocks. That's okay. Next house. What, you want closer? No, I want further away. My kid is out of school. Don't have to worry about that. I don't like kids. I like my kid. And then I don't want around other kids. So speaking of baking though, Sweet Truth is back taking orders again. They had taken a break through September and I believe most of October. They are taking holiday orders for Thanksgiving, so your desserts can be covered by Miss Faith this holiday season. You can order by phone or online by or before November 19th. When you order, you must pay within 48 hours or your order will be canceled. Pickup dates are Monday the 22nd when Stacy and Lindsay are on Food Network, or the 23rd. And you can call 336-934-5847 or email sweettruth2, number 2, @gmail.com. That's 336-934-5847 or sweettruth2. And there's 2 T's in that. Don't skip one. sweettruth2 @gmail.com. Now, Michael, I know you've been asking for info on who's going to be open for Thanksgiving for the paper.
Right.
When will that list be released?
So typically we run it twice. So and I can't tell you the exact dates, but probably the second time probably will be the weekend before Thanksgiving, but we'll run it probably in the next week. The first time will probably be in the week next week to 10 days, maybe as early as this weekend. So we're in the process of compiling that information. Heard from a few downtown places that are.
And I saw this morning the old 4th Street filling station said they would be open
for dine in.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So I don't want to detract from people reading the list. So is it so far what you've compiled? Is it a extensive list or is it modest?
Right now it's kind of modest. There are a few kind of recurring places that are pretty much open every year, and then there's typically maybe a third of the list is kind of a revolving door of restaurants that give it a try. Now the interesting thing will be.
Can you turn that microphone to where it faces you a little more? There we go. Yes, thank you.
Sorry. So the interesting thing will be, restaurants trying to balance, the need to try to get some revenue after having not so great 18 months because of the pandemic, with maybe wanting to give their staff a little time off. So, it could go either way, where you might see some more places being closed or even closing for the weekend. If they want to give their staffs a break because they're short-staffed and they're working them hard.
And probably they need a break too.
Yeah. So you could go either way. And the other thing that's been real popular and people ask me about a lot is restaurants doing takeout, like pick up the night before of and this has gotten a lot more popular. It used to be grocery stores get in the act. Pretty much every supermarket chain will offer some form of turkey and fixings. Sometimes they're fully prepared stuff, and sometimes they might be like some packages of stuffing mix or something, along with a cooked turkey or something like that. So the packages vary, and there's something to fit kind of all budgets and size crowds. Restaurants do that, but grocery stores do it, but also a lot of restaurants do it, and some of the fanciest restaurants in town do it, but some also kind of casual restaurants do it. We talked about Bibbs used to sell their smoked turkeys were really popular. And it's all the way down. Bojangles used to sell turkeys too. I don't think they do anymore, but there's a lot of choices for people who don't want to or can't cook their dinner for whatever reason. So
as well, I was thinking, those who can't be with family or just don't want to cook or whatever the situation is. And I've not looked because I've never cooked a turkey, but I don't. I'm kind of waiting to see what kind of prices the turkeys are, because everything right now is just ridiculous.
Yeah, food. So food prices are up all over the place. So I'm guessing it might be a little bit more expensive this year, but it'd also be a little bit more expensive to cook your own this year. So in the grocery store, in the restaurants, you can expect to see.
Well, that's the cooking your own was the part that I was talking about.
Yeah.
It had butterball and whatever.
My guess is that either way, you're probably going to be spending a few more dollars this year. However, the one thing about this time of year is this stuff. There are sales all over the place, so keep your eye out for when some of those turkey. And some grocery stores sell their own brand of turkey, which you may or may not like just as much as Butterball, but might be 50 cents less a pound.
Yeah. And chances are it was processed by Butterball with the Food Lion or whoever,
or it came from the same turkey farm or what have you.
Yeah. That's how private label stuff goes. It's made by bigger name people. I doubt that Food Lion has their own turkey farm.
Correct. No.
Yeah, because what would they do with it the rest of the year? Well, that's cool. Young Cardinal has some new menu items. They have steak and eggs on the menu. They have a grit bowl. They have a Monte Cristo sandwich and a pumpkin spice waffle now. I'm sure that will go through just the fall. But it'll go out. But I'm interested in the steak and eggs, though. That sounds really good. And I've had Monte Cristos that are really good, and I've had Monte Cristos that were meh.
Yeah.
So I'm hit or miss on those.
Yeah. Well, a good Monte Cristo is like a grilled cheese gone to heaven kind of thing.
Yeah. With ham.
With ham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So check out Explore Winston-Salem, and it's an Instagram-based business to tell you all the cool and groovy things happening in our hometown. They are on Instagram as Explore Winston-Salem, and on the web, explorewinstonNC.com. That's 2 N's there, WinstonNC.com. Christy is all over it. She was one of the commenters on the when I questioned. I thought that was a 22nd, but it was 2 different things.
Right.
As far as burgers go, I had 2 official burgers this week. I had the Trade Street burger from Tuning Fork Provisions up at Fiddle and Fish, owned by Mojito. The thing was huge. It was so huge when they closed the lid on the container, it smashed the burger down. So when I took the picture, it looked like the pic was like distorted and skewed, but it wasn't.
You had smashed it.
He had smashed it down. So mayo, mustard, ketchup, American cheese, pickles, onion, tomato on a grilled potato bun is how it came for me, because I told them no lettuce. But so it was huge. The second burger I had was from Campus Gas. It was a Campus Classic. It was topped with cheese, lettuce, tomato, mayo, and mustard. I didn't really have any choice on what went on it. They didn't have pickles, so I just left it how it was. Actually, I think I left the lettuce on.
Okay. I was going to ask.
Yeah, I have to go back and look at the picture and see how it was. But, yeah. So we are in the final stretch now of the Burger Tour 21. And I'm going to say that there are a few that I really want to get to in the next 27 days. Some of those may not happen. If I find that the ones that I really, really want to get to, that I think are important to hit, like Stephen and I are supposed to go to Food Freaks. I think
Knoxville?
Yeah, I think this week.
Okay.
Because I feel like that has to be there.
How many places how many untried places are left on your list at this point?
I would say probably. I'm going to give you a guesstimate because counting it would be long. Out of 100 and computer shortage, 103.
Okay.
I would say
scrolling.
Yeah, I would say probably about 35 to 40, and some of those are
still to taste.
Yeah, some of those are outliers. So
okay,
and some of them are in places that I'm probably not going to go.
So safe to, and 27 days left. Safe to say you're not going to get to all of that.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
But if I and I know we're going to have Food Freaks, but if we didn't, and it came to the 28th of November, which is when this is supposed to end, I would probably wait until I went there before I did this, because it's just an important thing. Especially it was on the list the last time.
Well, they're known for the big and crazy burgers.
Yeah,
just putting all kinds of crazy toppings.
And generally, what we do is Stephen and I, when we go, and we're also, when we're out there, going to try the 601 Burgers and Brews in Moxville. They're not far from each other. But if they're like specialty burgers, we try to get one as close to normal as possible
right.
because that's what I'm judging.
Right.
Or it has to go in another category.
Do they even have a normal burger? I guess normal burger is food free.
Yeah.
I guess you can do it on request.
Yeah, probably an a la carte burger. You know, I want this, want this, want that. But there's just some places, a couple places in Greensboro that I'm not going to get back to. I did eat at East Coast Wings, but that was during Eat Drink Burger Week.
Right.
Finnegan's Wake I can take off the list because now it wouldn't have mattered anyway.
Yeah.
I've had the Hops Burger Bar here, but I didn't have the one in Greensboro. I was trying to pit some of them together.
Okay.
You know, at each other.
Same menu though. It is the same.
It is the same menu, but I went to all 3 big burger spots.
Oh.
So, and they were comparable, but one did stand out over the others.
Interesting. Did you get the same burger at each one?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. And the owner, the one that is the top of the 3, now I don't know if it'll make the list, but the owner was at the one that I had the better of the 3. None of them were bad, but the one just stood out higher. But I've had on this list, I've had probably the second worst burger I've ever had in my life. And I'm not going to say who it is yet. And I might not say it even then, and I've had probably the best burger I've ever had in my life. And
you eat enough burgers, it's bound to
Yeah.
you're going to get a few bad ones.
Yes. So I would say probably 35 or so burgers that I have to go. Some of them are just questionable, like Mike's Vegan. I'm not going to go have that because I don't want to count Beyond Burgers or Impossible Burgers or whatever trendy fake burger they're using this week. So I didn't do that, and I'm not going to do Dom's because
Do you rule out vegetarian burgers?
generally,
Period.
Yeah, because I'm of the mind, and this is just the asshole in me. I'm of the mind that you shouldn't be able to call it a burger if it's not real meat. Well, we want a burger too. Well, eat meat. I am anti-vegan. I actually like vegan people. I just don't understand the lifestyle. And there are some people I understand that just can't eat meat. Right. Hate it for you. Right. I am not kind to those.
Well, some people don't like the idea of killing animals.
Yeah,
I don't respect that.
I respect that that's the way they think, but I don't care how the animal dies. I want to eat it. I'm just not. I am not. I don't want animals to die unjustly. Yeah. But those animals were put here for us to eat.
Well, on the other, and some people are looking at the historical carbon footprint of environmental effects of cattle farming as a big industry, and I understand. I have objections to that too.
I understand you have objections, but I still think you're dumb.
and for some people, they think red meat is not the healthiest. They're thinking about their health too. So I respect all those decisions, but I do too. But they don't get to call it a burger. I guess I could sort of agree with you of maybe we should call it
an impossible burger, an impossible meat sandwich.
Yeah, or a patty or something.
Yeah. I just don't think that you should be able to call a burger something that's not a burger.
Yeah.
It's not a burger is beef of some sort.
So you would even rule out a lamb burger or a pork burger?
I don't think that those are truly burgers. I think that they're good sandwiches.
Yeah. I guess I might be inclined to accept burger for ground meat.
Yeah. I think if it's a real animal.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
If it was ground lamb, ground pork, ground chicken, we could call it a chicken burger, a lamb burger, a pork burger, or in the case of beef, a hamburger.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would be okay with saying let's limit it to ground meat.
Yeah.
And let's call, black bean, like black bean cakes or black bean patties or whatever they are.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I just think that a burger should be a real burger and not some substitute because someone feels left out. You know, you can have whatever you want. You can call it whatever you want. I just don't think it should officially be called that.
Right.
You know, I can call this a hamburger, and it's really just a selfie stick. You know, I can call anything I want what I want.
Right.
But it doesn't mean it's true. So, what's coming up in the journal this Wednesday?
Oh my gosh! So I don't know.
Is it like me in my daily thing that I am so far ahead that I can't remember what date is what?
That happens to me quite frequently.
Yeah, because every day is Wednesday for you, right?
Yeah. So last week I had a story about Ted's famous chicken reopening in Louisville. I got a story about another chicken restaurant. Chicken. What is it about chicken? Everybody wants fried chicken, and a hot chicken. You got Timmy's Hot Chicken downtown on 5th Street now, and the old Burger Batch ramen place next to Small Batch. You got Earl's just changed their menu. They brought back they've always had those fried chicken sandwiches, but they brought back fried chicken, on the bone fried chicken over at Earl's. Something about I guess it's fried chicken is one of those ultimate comfort foods right up there with pizza and wings. But lots of fried chicken. So we'll have So if you look on journalnow.com tomorrow, you will see what chicken restaurant I'm talking about. But chicken is everywhere. Wow. And speaking of chicken, I think one thing that kind of disappeared is during the pandemic was all these church suppers with chicken pie.
Yeah.
Because Moravian chicken pie how many Moravian churches there are in Winston-Salem, and they all make Moravian chicken pie and use it as church fundraisers. Yeah. But I know
Forsyth County has the greatest concentration of Moravians in the country.
Yeah. And anyway, a little bit of good news. Friedberg Moravian Church is going to have a chicken pie supper again for the first time in, I guess, 2 years this weekend. You can go on their website and check it out. It is a takeout event, so they're not doing like the full bore where you sit down and eat and socialize, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But you at least can get yourself some good Moravian chicken pie and help the church out a little bit at the same time.
Yeah. Hopefully we will be far enough through all this that next year we can get back to some in-person stuff like that. Yeah. My wife makes a fantastic Moravian pie. She used to work at Old Salem for 6 years. She was in costume
interpreter
and experienced interpreter. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, if you look on journalnow.com, you can right now actually you can get all the details on how to get one of those Moravian chicken pies from Friedberg Moravian Church. What else is going on? Thanksgiving is
rapidly approaching.
My gosh, yes, 3 weeks from Thursday, it'll be here before we know it.
Yeah, I think for you guys, especially the food part, Thanksgiving is all of November.
It is. I spend my time thinking about it, cooking for it pretty much all month. Yeah, there's a good there's a fun recipe if you want to kind of get started. This is a quasi Halloween recipe, but great for Thanksgiving too. There's a recipe for cranberry pumpkin cookies on our website too, Journal Now, and so lots of cooking to do in the next 3 weeks.
What's your favorite part of Thanksgiving meal? What's your favorite item?
Oh gosh, probably gravy.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I love a good gravy. You get good drippings, and I make homemade stock for it, and I put it on pretty much everything on the plate. I just cover the whole plate in gravy almost. Yeah.
So because it goes with everything.
Yeah.
You can put your corn in it. You can put your mashed potatoes in, your stuffing, your turkey.
Yeah, and I'll put it on the green beans. I'll put it, the stuffing that if you're having a roll, put it on the roll. Boy, is that good. And we when I was a kid, we used to have open face sandwiches too. So the next day you take some toast and you gosh, I don't even need the turkey for it, but if you have some turkey meat, you heat that up, put it on top of the toast, and then pour gravy over that. and eat it open faced with a fork and knife, and it's that's great. A great breakfast even.
So we never have any turkey left over, because whatever's left gets turned into turkey salad. My mother, that's annual tradition for her, is turkey salad.
Buy a bigger turkey.
Well, she makes two.
She makes two.
Yeah, because we have.
Still doesn't give you any leftover turkey.
Well, because we have, and I'm okay with that, because I love the turkey salad part. But we have usually around in her house, and this year's going to be different because they moved last week. So it's going to be a different house. So I don't know how that's going to work, but it's usually about 15 of us.
Wow. So what does she put in her turkey salad?
Miracle Whip.
Okay.
And mayonnaise. And
mayonnaise together.
Yeah. It's about half and half.
Okay.
I believe there's some hard-boiled egg, I believe.
Okay.
And
onions, celery, any of that kind of
onions
stuff?
and celery, I believe. Okay. Yeah. And more celery than onions.
No fruit or nuts?
No, okay. I don't.
Some
like
people
that.
put grapes or pecans or stuff like that.
Yeah, I want meat and meat byproduct. That's what I want.
I think you've made that perfectly clear.
Yeah. As I always say, I'll eat anything that had a mother. So yeah. So my favorite part, though, I guess, of the meal, I'm a mashed potatoes and gravy kind of guy, and I don't usually eat this during the regular year, but Thanksgiving, whipped butter on those big, huge dinner rolls.
Oh, yeah.
That I love that. I'll just pile the butter on there. And truthfully, I guess my favorite part is the actual turkey.
Yeah, I like good turkey. Cooked right.
Yeah,
It's got to be cooked right, because like a chicken, you can dry out a turkey from overcooking.
Yeah.
Cooked right. I like turkey.
Yeah. So the food holidays are sponsored by Mojito Latin Soul Food, your go-to Cuban and Latin-inspired restaurant. Michael Millon gave me an update a couple weeks ago on Zeke. He's back and healthy and back in the kitchens. I think he's at both Mojito and Tuning Fork. They're running weekly food specials and Mojito drink specials. They do reservations, takeouts, and deliveries for the surrounding businesses like Fiddlin' Fish, Broad Branch, and Wise Man. Check them out on their Facebook page and at MojitoLatinSoulFood.com. And again, thanks to everyone who contributed to the GoFundMe page. And I talked to Michael a little bit last week when I was at Tuning Fork, and there may be some news coming to try to combat the labor shortage, but we have to wait and see what's going on with that.
Okay.
So, he and I are pals, so he was saying that nobody knows this, and I'm not telling you what it is. I'm just telling you to look for something. So, yeah. Today is the 1st of November, and it's All Saints Day. World Vegan Day, which to me is scarier than anything from Halloween. Speaking of vegans. And it's National Deep Fried Clam Day, National Vinegar Day, and National Calzone Day.
Calzone. I love a good calzone.
Where's your favorite?
I had some years ago. I wrote a story about how to make calzones, and I went out to Carmine's Italian restaurant, which was on Jonestown.
Yeah,
and he made some pretty good calzones for us. But it's pretty easy to make them at home. Get yourself some pizza dough.
Or make your own.
Or make your own, and you basically just It's real easy. You put some filling in the, you get a little circle of dough, you put some filling in the middle, you roll it over and you bake it, and you just just a little cheese and a calzone. When I was a kid, we used to go to this kind of hoagie place. Although it was a pizza place, but they made great hoagies, and I would always get the Stromboli.
Yeah, I like Stromboli
I
better
love
than
that,
calzone.
so basically like a hot hoagie, cooked with pizza dough,
Yeah.
instead of a bun. Boy, that's really good.
Yeah. So as far as Stromboli goes, I've not had a calzone there. I am a huge fan of BLL Rotisserie Factory. Simon makes especially when Simon makes it, because he's very liberal with stuff. But I love their pizza, and I love their Stromboli, but I haven't had a calzone there yet. Maybe I should go have one. That might be something I do today. We'll see. On the 1st, in 1884, Greenwich Mean Time, the GMT that you always see next to times, was universally adopted at the International Meridian Conference in Washington, D.C., and the international dateline was drawn up with 24 time zones created. And Russia has 11 time zones themselves.
Oh my God.
Yeah. In 1993, the Maastricht Treaty became effective, creating the new European Union. So today is the anniversary, and I'm not doing math because it's hard. It's the anniversary of the EU. Tomorrow is National Deviled Egg Day, which is one of my specialties. That's what I make for my family for Thanksgiving and Christmas every year.
Interesting. I think of deviled eggs as more of a spring and summer dish, but because I think of it as Easter, and then I think of it as for picnics.
Yeah.
Like summer picnics.
So how I make mine are the breakfast deviled eggs.
Okay.
Which eggs in generally people think of breakfast, but
So bacon?
I take bacon and I cook that up. I take the grease from the bacon, put it in the dry yolks from the boiled egg.
Wow.
And then I add a little bit of course, mayonnaise and yellow mustard, and then just a little bit of Dijon mustard, but I also put a splash of orange juice in there, maple syrup in there. And
You got a little sweet thing going.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I take some Parmesan cheese and I grate that fresh and put it in the oven, bake it down to where it's like a lace, dry it, let it come out and cool.
You're getting fancy on me,
Yeah,
Tim.
yes. And then I take the bacon and chop it up and sprinkle that over top, and then break off a little piece of the cheese and stick it down inside there. So it's
Very
full on
Wow.
breakfast.
Wow.
And
Wow.
Chef Travis Myers loves it, as does Ryan Oberly.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they always say, "Hey, can you bring some of those eggs?" So
Man, I would like to try some of this.
yeah, so
All right.
you can find the recipe for that on The Man Who Ate the Town if you just use the search bar for deviled eggs.
Okay.
On the 2nd, in 1671, King's Brewery opens in Quebec. It's their first city brewery. In 1734, Daniel Boone was born, and usually don't talk about born and dead people, but this is, he has ties here. There are two towns close to us named after him: Booneville without the E, and Boone, where App State is. In 1978, the largest squid ever caught was taken in at the Thimble Tickle Bay in Newfoundland. It was 55 feet long and weighed 2 tons.
Oh my. 50.
That's a lot of calamari right there. In 1995, on the 2nd, the Soup Nazi appears for the first time on Seinfeld. In 2010, San Francisco passed a law that allows toys to be given away with kids' restaurant meals only if the meal contains less than 600 calories, which means no meals. Get a toy. On the 3rd, it's Sandwich Day because in 1718, John Montague, the 4th Earl of Sandwich, was born. Captain Cook named these Sandwich Islands after him, and we know those today as Hawaii. In 1863, J.T. Alden of Cincinnati received a patent for an improved method of manufacturing dry yeast. Thank you, J.T. Alden. In 1952, frozen peas were added to the list of frozen vegetables produced by Birdseye, and vasectomies became all the rage.
What's the connection between those two events?
Well, most people, everybody tells me, say when I got a vasectomy, I put frozen peas down there to cool it down.
Of course. Well, I just wasn't thinking.
Yeah.
It's obvious. Yeah.
Yeah, it was never the same again. On the 3rd, in 1966, ingredients are required to be listed on food packages. It was the first truth in packaging law, and we still have that. And so if it's done right, the ingredients on the packaging is listed in the order that they are most abundant. So if sugar is the first thing on your food item, then it's mostly sugar. Speaking of mostly sugar, and why was this not on Sunday, but the 4th is National Candy Day.
Yeah, that's right. It should be the 31st of October.
Yes.
Lord have mercy.
And the 4th is also National Men Make Dinner Day, which, okay, we do.
Wait a minute. It's the same day as Candy Day.
Yeah.
So we're having candy for dinner.
That's right. Here you go, kids. It's
Dinner
your day.
is done. Went out and bought a bag of Snickers. We're done.
And for you and me, and not our kids necessarily, on the 4th, it's also International Stout Day.
Ooh.
So have that with your candy dinner.
Stout and candy.
In 1841, John Bartleson and John Bidwell arrived in California with the first wagon train. They left from Independence, Missouri on May 1st, 1841, with 69 adults and several children. And I don't know how many of those people actually arrived in California. That's just how many people they left with. I'm sure in that, 6 months, then probably some of them fell away. I'm just putting that nicely. In 1873, on the 4th, Anthony Iskay of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, was issued a patent for a meat slicing machine. It worked much like a mandolin with a frame to hold the meat while sliding against a blade, which I believe is close to what we're using today in delis and Euro Deli Mart when she had us try everything. And I loved it. We actually had some of the sausage and those Slim Jim like things last night with the German mustard.
I hate to ask how many pounds of sausage you bought.
We only bought one link of the one and two smaller links of the other. So yeah, we didn't go stupid. You can look at me and think that I went stupid, but no. In 1879, on the 4th, James and John Riddy invented the first cash register. They come up with the idea to prevent bartenders from stealing at the Pony House restaurant in Dayton, Ohio. On the same day, African-American inventor Thomas Elkins received a patent for a refrigerating machine, which could be used to cool food or even human corpses, according to the patent application. He also received patents on that day or soon thereafter for a combined dining and ironing table and a commode. And I don't know if the commode was part of the dining or ironing tables. So I hope that they were separate.
I like the dining ironing table combo.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good idea.
And on the 4th, in 1879, again, Thomas Edison applied for a patent for electric lamps giving light by incandescence. So the lights that we...
Praise Mr. Edison.
Yes, we're not in the dark anymore. In 1922, the entrance of the tomb of King Tutankhamun, or King Tut, was discovered in the Valley of Kings in Egypt. And then years later, Geraldo Rivera went in there and found nothing.
I think he found Al Capone's ashes or something.
Or Jimmy Hoffa. He found Jimmy Hoffa. On the 5th of November, it's National Donut Day. It's one of 2 days. The other is the first Friday in June. So, go through the many donut shops here in town and get some good, delicious fried dough. In 1963, Viking ruins were found by archaeologists in Newfoundland dating back to the year 1000. Leif Erikson had landed in Vinland 500 years before Columbus, quote unquote, discovered the New World. And we have to know, too, that even before Columbus got here, Amerigo Vespucci showed up here, too, because that's what we're named after. On the 6th, it's turn your clock back before going to bed. I hate when we turn the clocks back. I hate when it gets darker earlier. I wish we could just leave it daylight saving time all the time. I know that it would still get darker earlier, but it doesn't have to be dark at 4:30.
Yeah. You know, they used to do that in October, like usually like Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's also National Bison Day, which is the first Saturday in November. Learn to Homebrew Day. Yeah. And National Nachos Day. You can eat nachos while learning to homebrew.
That makes sense.
Hey, I like it. In 1879, it was a big year this week for 1879. On the 6th is the first official observance of the Canadian Thanksgiving holiday.
Ah, yeah.
Now observed on the second Monday in October. In 1905, the Broadway production of J.M. Barrie's most famous work opened in New York, and it was called Peter Pan, or The Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up. If you see the film with Kate Winslet and Johnny Depp called Finding Neverland, that's loosely the story of J.M. Barrie and Mrs. Llewellyn Davies.
And the family that inspired Peter
Yes,
Pan. Yeah.
yes, including Peter. In 1914, Morton used the When It Rains, It Pours trademark slogan for its salt. And up to about a month and a half ago, I had a big umbrella that I'd gotten from the VP of Morton Salt in Virginia. But I accidentally left it at Diamondback, and they couldn't find it. So I lost it, and I'd had that for 20 years.
Yeah.
In 1975, on the 6th, Good Morning America premiered. I thought it was earlier than that, but I know the Today Show has been around since, the late 50s. In 1993, the world's largest peanut butter and jelly sandwich to date was created in Peanut, Pennsylvania. It was almost 40 feet long and used 150 pounds of peanut butter and 50 pounds of jelly. And I went, when I was writing that out, I went to YouTube and nobody had any video of it. And again, it's 1993, I understand, but somebody should have documented that. It should have been a news report, should have been something.
You would think so.
Yeah,
I bet you it's out there.
Yeah. In 2018, California voters approved the Farm Animal Confinement Initiative. By 2020, egg-laying hens must have at least 1 square foot of space per hen, and each calf raised as veal must be provided with at least 43 square feet of space. By 2022, which is coming soon, female pigs used for the breeding must have at least 24 square feet of space per pig. Hens must be kept in cage-free housing with at least 1 square foot of space per hen. All right. On the 7th, Sunday, National Bittersweet Chocolate with Almonds Day. It's a little specific, don't you think?
It's very specific.
Some of them.
Well, you know, I
very
think about
specific.
the Hershey bar. I think about the classic Hershey bar with nuts.
Yeah.
That's basically kind of what they're talking about.
Yeah. Is that bittersweet chocolate?
Oh, no, that's a good question. Probably not. It's probably
milk
milk chocolate. Yeah. I think there might be a
version.
Because they make dark chocolate, which is bittersweet chocolate.
Yeah.
So there might be one now, but not originally.
Yeah. In 1805, the Lewis and Clark expedition sighted the Pacific Ocean for the first time. William Clark wrote, "Great joy in camp. We are in view of the ocean, this great Pacific Ocean, which we been so long anxious to see, and the roaring or noise made by the waves breaking on the rocky shores, as I suppose may be heard distinctly."
Wow.
So I mean, just imagine that discovery. Other people obviously had known about.
They've been canoeing for months and months and months to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if Sacagawea actually got them there on time. He said, "I'm going to take them over this way. Y'all go hide." In 1872, the Mary Celeste, which is a ship, sailed for Genoa from New York with a cargo of 1,700 barrels of alcoholic spirits. The ship was found abandoned near the Azores. The captain and his wife and daughter and 7 crewmen missing with no sign of violence. The captain, his family, and the crew were never seen again. Now, it does not say that they found the 1,700 barrels of alcoholic spirits.
Well, that's what I want to know. What happened to the booze?
Yeah, I would say probably pirates. But if they were going to do that, why? It seems like they would have burned the ship or something. I don't know. I wasn't there.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I thought you probably were.
Yeah. For those of you wondering, I was not there. I was a whole 98 years before I was born. In 1885, the 2,980-mile Canadian Pacific Highway or Railway was completed. It runs from Montreal to Port Moody, British Columbia. In 1965, the Pillsbury Doughboy was born. Did you know he actually has a name?
No, I did not.
His name is Poppin' Fresh.
Actually, I think I have heard that.
Yeah.
I think they used to use that in the ads way back when.
Yeah, nothing tastes like my Poppin' Fresh dough.
That's right.
Yeah. He made his debut in a commercial for Crescent Rolls. In 1996, the Distilled Spirits Council of the United States voted to remove their voluntary ban of hard liquor ads on television and radio that had been in effect since 1936. And I knew that was banned. And I remember the first time, I think it was a Crown Royal ad or a Smirnoff vodka ad. And I'm like, I thought they couldn't do that. But now it's everywhere. And it's, their ads have gotten almost as memorable as beer ads. So that's your food history and holidays for this week. Special thanks to James Ehler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes. Wonder, really, was that peanut butter and jelly sandwich that big? And why was Candy Day not on Halloween? And from Poppin' Fresh Dough's birthday.
I like your impression there.
The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables Podcast Network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to the Less Desirables, the Beer Dads, Fan Interference, Beeswax Final Daily, Wheeler's Dog, and Asylum Tales from the Devereaux Diaries podcast. You can find all these podcasts and list episodes on our network website and directory, tldpodnetwork.com. You can find all you need to know about them on that site. This is a reminder to all the listeners, and it's good practice, not just now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash with warm water and soap, and wash it for 20 seconds. If you don't know how long 20 seconds is, sing along with this.
Trucking, all right. Chips cashed in, keep trucking, like the Doodah Man together. More or less in line, just keep trucking on.
Yeah. So 51 years ago today, this album was released, American Beauty by the Grateful Dead.
Great album.
It is 19 days older than I am. So, yeah. So it had Grateful Dead for this one and the Working Man's Dead before used a lot of harmonies because they were not very much a harmonious band as far as vocals go before they started hanging out with Crosby, Stills, and Nash. And they're like, you know what you need? You need some... So then Uncle John's band came, and I thought that was CSN for the longest time. I was not born then, but I'd heard it later, and I thought that was what it was. So, yeah, 51 years ago today. So keep an eye on the blog and the podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, send an email to tim@themanwhoatethetown.com or
M. Hastings at WSJournal.com.
You can also contact us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. If you like us on Facebook, we would like it if you did. On Twitter, we are Man8TheTown, and on Instagram, we are Man8TheTown. We invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast. Actually, any podcast on the TLD network. You can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422-NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the podcast. Again, 336-422-NUM, 6862. Well, my name's Tim.
And I'm Michael.
And we're closing the recipe trunk. Make sure you read the journal on Wednesday to see all the goodness that Michael's putting out. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Yamas.
The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.